Good evening, my friends. France's ambassador ordered to leave Niger, Paris says. Putschists have no authority. Well, we shall see if he leaves or not. This is zero hedge. So why do we care? Niger is just a desert backwater. Nothing. No, the world is changing, my friends. It's changing very rapidly. The Western sphere of influence is fading thanks to the weak-ass leadership of Beijing, Biden, and Macron is called out in this article as well. So the military leadership of Niger, which is a former French colony, now in the 80s and 90s, the French Foreign Legion would roll in there, kick some ass, and bring back the Western installed administration. But this time, not so much. So, former French colony has begun booting Western ambassadors from the country, starting with France. The French ambassador has been given 48 hours to leave, so if he doesn't leave, he's probably going to be captured. And then the putschists will have some authority, I guess, then. So there were initial reports that the U.S. and German ambassadors were also ordered to flee, but that was walked back. Given the tensions, they could be next, though. So again, remind me again, what's so important about Niger? A, the world is changing, and B, they export gold. And it's palm. Other oily seeds is like palm oil, but the big one for France's interest is radioactive chemicals, that is uranium. I think France gets like 90%, 90 plus percent of its uranium from Niger. It's going to be a problem. The U.S. State Department spokesperson later said no such request has been made to the U.S. government to leave. But since the July 26 coup d'etat, Al-Sadin's still detained, but he's being treated fairly well, I've been told. President Mohamed Bazoum, the Western-allied president, has been accused of working with France to trigger outside military intervention towards restoring him to power. So Macron has been frequently critical of the junta and demanded the immediately release Bazoum, something they repeated on Thursday, and he got ignored again. Because I think they may pull this off. So Burkina Faso and Mali are nations near Niger, and they agreed to help defend Niger from this outside military influences. So on Friday, the junta revealed that the French ambassador refused a meeting with Niger's new foreign minister, with Paris having cited that Niger's putschists have no authority. Niger then said the French government was acting contrary to the interests of Niger, and therefore the ambassador must be expelled. So we don't really care about France's full statement. They're not flying in the French Foreign Legion and kicking ass this time. So the French ambassador is likely to be forced from the country. I guess the putschists do have authority then. Regardless, heightening the international crisis, which has stretched to a month. We do not want a regional West African war, which unfortunately it's looking more and more likely, perhaps. Again, I don't really have a dog in this fight. I just don't want to see dead people, all right? Meaningless deaths in this case. So Algeria has officially banned the French Air Force from using its airspace, supporting any supposed military operation in Niger. France is highly to use the Morocco airspace, which will complicate logistics. The coup government supporters have been protesting French and Western influences in the Sahel region, both historic colonial occupation and their recent military presence. France has 1,000 some odd troops stationed there, and the United States has 1,000 troops stationed there. For what fucking reason, I do not know. In some cases, citizens carrying Russian flags as a supposed anti-imperialist symbol. That's quite curious indeed. The French embassy has been attacked and set on fire within the opening days of the coup d'etat. The West African states, which are friendly to the West, it's called ECOWAS, my friends, we're going to look at them in a bit, are still threatening military intervention to restore Bazoum, but they've been waffling on the decision. Again, probably intelligently. So, Niger, this is Al Jazeera. It's pretty bad when Al Jazeera's news coverage is better than, CNN's. Anyway, Niger puts military on maximum alert over ECOWAS fears. Now, I believe ECOWAS is the economic cooperation of West African states. Don't quote me on that, but the move comes as thousands gather at a stadium in the capital, Niamey, in support of the coup makers. Now, the southwest is the only portion of Niger which is any livable at all. The rest is mostly Saharan desert, which, I really wouldn't want to live there. So the new military rulers in Niger ordered the armed forces to go on maximum alert, citing the increased threat of attack. The main West African bloc, ECOWAS, has been trying to negotiate with the leaders of the July 26 coup, and the coup leaders, they released a kind of a fair sounding treat or path roadmap to get back to civilian rule. It's only 3 years, in which case the military would get everything worked out and then hand over power. Now, most likely that wouldn't have happened in 3 years, but you never know. But they got rejected. I mean, it sounds reasonable to me, but what the fuck do I know? So, now ECOWAS is ready to deploy troops to restore constitutional order if diplomatic efforts fail, which could be a massive problem if Mali and Burkina Faso both, kind of merge as allies and attempt to fight them off. Now, Nigeria, they have a big enough army, a modern enough army with gear and air support and armor. They could probably make pretty quick work of this, but Nigerians and Nigerians, slight different, they're relatively tribally close, I believe. So anyway, we're an internal document issued by the defense chief, which was shared widely online on Saturday, that's today by the way, said the order to be in the highest state of readiness would allow forces to respond adequately in case of any attack and avoid a general surprise. So again, what's the big deal? So again, the world is changing. Basically, people want to cozy up to the new strong kid at school, because the United States is a frail, feeble old horse right now with Beijing Biden. Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin see what Beijing Biden's making a fool of himself in Maui. They see that guy. He's a bumbling idiot. He's so fucking old and tired. He can't bring himself back from fucking vacation, a 9-day vacation. He has to stay longer and screw the poor ladies of the poor dudes that pretend to be ladies in the WNBA over meeting him. Actually, they might be thankful that they're not meeting him, because he's kind of a creeper. So the 6 nations joining BRICS, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. What do they have in common, folks? I don't know. It's a 3-letter word, I believe. Oil. Yes. The BRICS also has Russia, and Brazil is a major oil exporter as well. I think South Africa also used to be able to produce oil. I don't know if they can now that they ran all the white people out of the country. So Egypt, they have problems with the U.S. dollar appreciation, and they hold a lot. I think Egypt, I think the U.S. dollars are de facto currency. And Argentina just has a massive currency problem of their own. Inflation's like 100%. I think it's bad here. Ethiopia, they were once a rising star in Africa, but they've kind of dimmed a bit. So China tries to increase its clout with Africa amid rivalry with the U.S. So China's a paper tiger, so I don't know. I don't trust any currency more than the dollar, but the dollar has been shooting itself in the foot for, I don't know, probably going on 15 years now. Thank you, Ben Bernanke and Jerome Powell. It's very curious. They pick a Gentile to kind of go down with the ship on this one, on the USS Federal Reserve. So Xi Jinping pitches his country as the leader of the developing world, rallying support for an alternative to the U.S.-dominated global order. I would beware African countries for ponying up to him, because he basically will leave all your citizens penniless while building a nice factory with a nice power grid that are run by his citizens. Not you. Sorry, Africans. So that's that. It's a pretty quick one tonight. Oh, 8 minutes. Holy shit. Thought it was quick. So anyway, if you like my content, hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment. I read all the comments, my friends, and pick up some non-perishable food, and God bless.